What's up, everybody? I'm Bright Jacobson, and I'm a filmmaker.
Are you ready for the show? Cause here we go.
Welcome to my chaotic world. Today I'm going to be talking to you a little about who I am and what I do. I film just about everything there is, from fashion to food to politics, you name it, and I've probably shot it more than once. But the subject I enjoy shooting the most is surfing. I'm gonna back up to how this all started, how it began. About 15 years ago, I decided to pick up a camera when I found out that I have ADHD. I always carried a little point and shoot camera around with me everywhere I went. I enjoyed taking photos, but I didn't know why. I just knew that I like to capture moments. Was I good at it? No, I didn't have schooling, and it was a point and shoot, and you just put it on automatic and go. When my wife became pregnant with our daughter, we wanted one of us to stay home. We decided that I would be the one that stays home with her for the first year or two. I didn't understand that I had ADD, and being in a world of a newborn baby is very difficult if you don't know how to sit still and sit down yourself. I didn't know how to mentally deal with because I didn't know what was going on. So we decided that, you know what, seeing a psychiatrist is probably a good idea for me to figure out what was going on. I get distracted super easily, and I wasn't sure why. The psychiatrist asked me what I like to do. Well, I always had a camera around with me, and well, I loved surfing. Unfortunately, I have a bulging disc on my neck, so I had to stop surfing. I would surf one day and I would have 7 days of recovery of just not being able to get comfortable with it. So I took the psychologist's advice and I went out and got a camera, and I just started shooting things. I would donate my time to nonprofits. I would work for pennies. One time I worked for gift cards. I would do everything and anything just to learn that business. And as I started shooting, I started getting better. And coming from a surfing background, I wanted to start shooting surf. I had surfed for 30 years, and so I understood the waves, the way the waves broke, and also the way surfers will move. I had the ability right off the bat to shoot surfing pretty well. This is back really before social media. And then a friend of mine owns Easy Reader newspaper, Kevin Cody. Shout out to Kevin. He was one of the first people that put his trust into me, and I started shooting for the newspaper. And when you shoot for the newspaper, you're going to shoot everything, and that's exactly what I did. I shot, food, I shot restaurants, I shot politics, I shot everything to do with the South Bay community. I got to meet a lot of people and make new friends, etc. And best of all, I learned how to shoot in different conditions. As I'm shooting all this stuff, people are like, we want to see all of your photography. Where is it going? What do you do with it? So I started a company called Civic Couch. It was a place that you could sit on your couch and find out everything about the community. As I was building this magazine, the surfing side of the magazine became the more popular side of it. And so as that grew, I kind of started growing a name for myself, and I started selling surf photos to Surfer Magazine, which no longer is a magazine, but it was at the time. Surfline, all these people started buying my photos. So I got a press pass to the US Open of surfing. I'm there just shooting photos as usual, but I decided I want to try to start shooting video. A few months after that, the producers for a show called the Taj.0 Show contacted me, and they said, hey, we heard you have content from the US Open. We need a little bit of it. I said, sure. How much do you need? How much are you paying? They needed about 10 seconds, and they were paying me twice as much for that video content as the magazines were paying for my photos. Hence the beginning of Brad Jacobson, the filmmaker. So I started making these videos, and it wasn't just surfing. I was still shooting, the politics and everything in the community. And I started putting it on YouTube because people wanted to see it. All of a sudden, the channel started growing, and I became eligible to make money off of YouTube. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. I was shooting everything. There was just so much going on my channel that people didn't know what to expect. And if they were there to see politics, and then they would see surfing, or if they were there to see surfing, then they would see politics, they wouldn't subscribe. And then in the world of YouTube, you need subscribers and you need views. So I sat down with a good friend of mine, Dustin Howard, and he basically told me, focus on one thing, which is obviously very hard for me to do, but I knew I was gonna have to force myself to learn how to focus. And he said, what's getting the most views? I said, surfing. He said, well, shoot surfing. I said, there's no money in surfing. He goes, there's money in YouTube, there's money in views. All you need to worry about is getting views. I started shooting surfing, just straight surf, put it behind some music. The channel started growing because it was more focused. Every year I would put together a video for the South Bay Board Riders Club. And that was kind of all the clips from the winter, put it together in a 45-minute video. We'd fill up a movie theater and boom, there we go. And that movie was different than anything else I was producing because I would do voiceovers. Similar to Bruce Brown, if you're familiar with The Endless Summer, but I wasn't voicing over the videos on YouTube. Those were still just music, surfing, pretty basic. After the premiere of one of my movies, people started coming up to me, man, we really love this voiceover. Why aren't you doing them with the YouTube stuff? And I said, well, nobody wants to hear me talk in the middle of a surf video. And they go, no, it adds a story to it. It adds a whole tale of what was going on in that video. And so I said, you know what, I'm gonna try it. So I decided to put out one video, and it was called The Truth About Surfing in LA. I voiced it over, edited it, and hit upload. Got up the next morning, and it had blown up overnight. And I was like, wow, this is kind of bizarre. Maybe people don't mind my kookiness of talking. And so I decided, you know what, I'll try one more and just see if there's something behind this voiceover thing. Did that with a video called The Truth About Surfing the Wedge. Boom, same thing happened. I said, oh my gosh, I'm onto something now. Let's just start voicing it over. It is so hard to do a voiceover when you think you sound very cringy. And I do. I'm one of the first people to admit it's not a very, I don't know, for lack of better words, macho way of producing a video, but it was working, and so I stuck with it. There were a lot of people who were saying positive things, and there were also people who were telling me to shut the up. That's hard. That's one of the hardest things, and what I do is the negative comments. I'll get 1,000 people saying, Brad, we love what you're doing, blah, 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 and I'll get one comment that says, don't do these voiceovers, blah, 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 it's horrible. And it's 1% of the comments, but that's the comment that sticks in my head. That one comment can also hurt your creativity, because as you're producing videos at this point, you're thinking, oh my gosh, remember what that one person said? I can't do it this way because I don't want to make them mad. You got 99% of the people that love it, but the 1% is now curving your creativity. My second big change came when I was talking to Casey Neistat, and he is one of the biggest YouTubers that ever graced YouTube. He was telling me, because I was running my YouTube channel under Civic Couch, people saw it as more of a business, as more of a corporation. I switched the name from Civic Couch over to Brad Jacobson, and I started seeing the difference in the comments. People were commenting more. They were using my name. They were saying, hey Brad, we love this video, or hey Brad, shut up, quit talking. Either way, I was relating to people. And relatability is huge when you're talking about connecting to the viewers on social media. One of the most common questions I receive is, what's it like being a content creator and standing on the beach, and living the dream? It's the hardest thing I've ever done. The second hardest thing I've ever done. The first hardest thing is raising a daughter. There is so much more that goes into creating content that people don't understand. They see me on the beach, and then they see that episode come out in a day or two. They think, man, that's gotta be awesome. On the beach shooting, go back, you edit, and you throw it online. That couldn't be farther from the truth. My time on the sand, actually filming, takes up maybe 10% of the actual time I spend producing videos. I've got to do research all the time to see what's working. Where's the algorithm? Why are people viewing certain things? What's the newest fad? How can I translate this fad into the surf world? There's obviously the editing side of it, and then there's also the forecasting side, right? I need to know if there's going to be waves, when there's going to be waves. I need to understand the ocean, swell directions, how the wind changes at each break you're at. When you see me on the beach and you see the edit come out, there was a lot that went behind that I don't think people really understand. Also, there is the side of surfing which is kind of, let's say, the ugly side of surfing, and that's going to be your localism side. I will not film at a beach if I'm not invited by people who surf there daily, and they kind of run that little zone. Each area, especially in LA, can be localized. And it's something that not a lot of people, especially that aren't familiar with the surf world, understand. And we're talking about spots that have cameras on Surfline, 4, 5, 6 cameras facing that spot. So that is another kind of obstacle that I always have to deal with. I want to have a good video. I don't just want it to be about the surfing in the water. And once you start showing parts of the beach or whatever's in the surrounding area, that's where people will get angry. So there is that side of it as well, as I got to go, okay, can I film here? What's the backlash going to be like? It is so difficult that weekly you're telling yourself, I want to stop. I don't want to do this anymore. It's so hard. Social media can be very negative. You get a lot of very mean comments. You can talk to any content creator and they'll tell you that weekly they are thinking about, I can't do this anymore. It's just, there's too much mentally to deal with. You have to have thick skin. Favorite episodes. I love this question. People will say, what was, your favorite episode to film? Number one was my trip to New York. I took Travis Logie with me to go on this surf trip to New York. We spent a day in Atlantic City. We drove into Manhattan, drove into the city. I rented a wave pool for an hour and a half. We were gonna film the wave pool on the last day. So for the first 3 days after Atlantic City, Travis and I just spent it cruising around. It was so much fun to shoot an episode that wasn't solely focused on surfing. And on the last day when we were leaving the hotel to go to the wave pool actually texted me stating the wave pool is broken. That's not good. We had spent 5 days basically filming, etc. And I only spent an hour of it shooting surf. But yet it's my favorite episode that I've ever filmed. And I would love to shoot more episodes like that. The second one is the Lego surfboard video. That is an insane surfboard that I created using Legos. My thumbs still hurt to this day. And it wasn't about the actual waves. It was about, let's try something new. Let's have fun with surfing. It's not all about just simply surfing. Let's try some new stuff. And that's actually a bit where my content is headed more. I want to try to do more creative stuff with surfing. There's a whole other aspect that I don't believe has been tapped into quite yet. And it's ideas like that, like the Lego surfboard. I did another episode where I had a guy try to surf a wave with a snowboard. That stuff to me, it's awesome. It's outside the box. In the future, you're going to see more episodes similar to that. The future. What's in the future for Brad Jacobson? I want to do things like that New York trip where, yeah, there was surfing involved, but there's also other things out there that we can be doing. There's more storytelling in it. So the future of Brad Jacobson is get more storytelling. Try to connect more with you guys, the viewers. If there's anything you want to see, let me know. And if you think it's a great idea, let's do it. Let's take surfers out of the water and go do some fun thing. All right, so overall, what's it like being a content creator? I'm gonna end it on that. It's awesome. It's a lot of fun. It is a lot of work. It's a lot of mentally struggling with everything that goes on in the social media world. But overall, I get up in the morning and I know I'm doing something that I wanna be doing. And that's hard to top. I spend a lot of time on the beach. How can I complain? I'm 52 years old and I'm uploading videos to YouTube and TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. This world that I live in didn't exist as I grew up. It's a world that I had to grow into. It's a world that I had to learn about. It's a world that is consistently changing. And so I have to consistently change and consistently alter. I have to stay on my toes or else I will get passed by. Appreciate you guys hanging out and watching this full video. Thanks a lot for taking the time out. And hey, I'm Brad Jacobson and I'll see you on the sand.